Hello. So we're starting, well, partway into a daily. This is actually the daily from yesterday. I was already in the middle of a daily. Apparently, I'd left it sort of half completed, and yeah, the daily yesterday was absolutely ridiculous. Gain a random consumable anytime you complete a status effect. So for the first time in quite a long time, I'm playing as Scholar, because Scholar makes this one absolutely trivial. And it's quite an interesting opportunity here. I can just show you exactly how overpowered this one was. Underdog's Trial of Patient mini opportunity. So yeah, missing half your lives, not a big deal. And whenever a status effect is completed, gain random consumables equal to, what's that? Oh, the minimum stage power. Which is beyond silly. There was a more powerful daily fairly recently though. I forget what the actual criteria was called. Oh, it was blacksmith's something or other. But it generated 23 copies of a seemingly random item. Only you could manipulate what item you got based on what is currently favorited in your codex. Most of the items were kind of rubbish, like you ended up with, I think it was 23 dream catchers, 23 drinking straws. There were a handful of things that you wouldn't normally want, and one of them was extravagance, which when you use extravagance you gain 3 copies of the next item you consume. And yeah, I was messing about with that and discovered that if you... oh, this is a guess, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, I discovered that if you replay stage 1 until your first chest gives you a miracle seed, you just ended up with 24 miracle seeds. And then you could have stage 2 that's... I mean, it was enormous. And just farm it for paint and for useful items and all kinds of stuff. Right, my random consumables. That's very nice. Passage, don't have any. I should probably actually reroll some loot with the tarot card. But yeah, I only pulled off the multiple miracle seeds thing once. I didn't have the time that evening to properly exploit that for all it was worth. But yeah, I got at least one paint out of it, so that was quite nice. Considering that paint is it's kind of rare. I mean, it's one of those things that you're just supposed to run into as you play, and it'll show up when it shows up, you know. Alright, interesting, but not great. Blip. Oh, token. Yes, very good. And a chest, which is kind of what I was after. Okay. Should be noted that... ooh, cash, hello. Should be noted though that completing a blueprint also gives you extra items. That's always nice. Yeah, okay, and that is interesting, but I don't like it that much. Alright, we're going to immediately just make that trusty. I don't remember anything about this run being particularly difficult to deal with. I have already completed it once before, which does raise the question actually as to if you completed a daily, does that completion count towards your complete, like, there's one achievement that needs you to complete, I think it's like 75 of them or something. That admittedly is the only reason I'm currently playing dailies. I don't mind a daily. I'm more interested in sort of just completing this and getting all the unlocks, at least prior to the expansion that they're planning to bring out. Although I can certainly forgive them for taking a while on releasing the expansion, considering the state of the world at the moment. Because good God, these are interesting times to be alive, aren't they? My wife currently is working for our sort of National Health Service. I mean, yeah, if you're American, I mean, or if you're not a UK national, I mean, you know what the NHS is, right? Ooh, yummy. No. I mean, I would say I'm a big fan of the NHS, but then I'm married to a member of it, and it's saved my life at least once, probably a few times actually, truth be told. So yeah, love them to bits, but they are not going through a great time at the moment. Well, my wife isn't actually on the what you call the front lines exactly, but she's certainly very directly affected by it, and I have so much respect for what those people do. It is a miserable, miserable job that a lot of them go through. I mean, certainly I've been out I've been out for a couple of nights out with some nurses, and certainly the ones from the actual A&E. They're lovely people. They drink like they want to die. Ooh, it's a frightening state of affairs, that. Ooh, now then. I mean, you got to figure that one of these is, and you got yes, okay. Gotta get myself some money. It'll be the same for a lot of people in emergency services, though, because I mean, my dad was a police officer, and I've got an uncle somewhere who's a fireman, or used to be at least, and I mean, you got to cope, haven't you, somehow. And certainly, I've met one or two policemen in my time, because you got family that work there. You get introduced to, it's like when you're a kid and your parent shows you what exactly they do at work all day. I mean, I've been taken into my dad's office once or twice just to sort of have a bit of a look around, and it's educational, but you do meet a couple of coppers every once in a while, and yeah, there's a certain gallows humour that you develop, I think just as a coping mechanism, just from being in that role. And yeah, I've got kind of a dry sense of humour myself, but I mean, you grow up around that, and it rubs off, doesn't it? Oh, yes, please. More of that, thank you very much. I think the last time I played through this I ended up with, I think I got a fairly early bellows actually, and I enjoy some bellows. I think it's actually my favourite offensive item. Might be my favourite item overall, just because it makes you run ridiculous immediately. Friendly Fire's good, it's not as good as bellows. In some ways it's a little bit more reliable though, because bellows, when it's got a mind to, can do very little for quite a long time. It will eventually pay out, but not immediately, but it's just a wee bit of a gamble. These two, yeah. I did notice that someone is starting to, is one of the regular wiki contributors, starting to put together a page on Minesweeper strategy. And yeah, more of that please. That's we've got some good stuff going on there these days. It is mostly complete now. Okay, it can't be both of these, so it must be one of these, it must be one of these. Is it a guess? It's a guess. It sucks, but no matter. I mean, I've got chromatic plate on, it's still going pretty strong. 4 to go. Right. I mean, you don't like to see it, do you? You don't like to see it. And we're in a 50. Okay. Absolutely full. I already have more XP than... sorry, XP doublers than I'm ever really going to need. Familiars... it's merely magic items, so I might as well pop it or drop it. Yeah, I think I ended up with bellows and hunting horn, I think it was. And yeah, the run was pretty much a win right off the bat there. Although I am quite glad that I've got an early bomb, because I've started to learn the value in having an explosive on hand before the boss, because it changes the entire game. The problem is, and then I've got to sit with this in my inventory, and well, I'm never going to find a situation good enough to use it, because no situation is ever better than just turn off the boss. So Oh well. I would say right about now my only real threat is accidentally misreading a situation and attacking a monster, but then because of the nature of this quest, I'm very likely to always have a reasonably good piece of armour on hand at all times, and so I can tank 1 or 2 hits without worrying too much. And well, at that point, I think the only thing I've really got to worry about is drawing an unexploded bomb, which is, you know, possible. But then I'm far enough in the quest now that I may still be able to weather an unexploded bomb and get away with it. That's good. That's misery. No, temporary. Temporary. I suppose in some ways temporary. I mean, they're not exactly synonymous, but closely related in a way, you know, on the same subject. But I'm rambling. Got enough cash that there could be some good stuff. That's interesting. It's not great. It's fine. I forgot that this one was large. And roughly the size of a barge. I think with friendly fire there's more value to leaving him inactive so he can just continue to do his method of flame thing. Because honestly, he's going to kill more this way. Rather than wandering around like a lost goose. Goose ain't lost. Geese. Goose. They always know exactly where they're going, and that's to hurt you, because geese are monsters. I'm not a big fan of geese. Not a big fan of birds, really. I mean, nothing against them, really, particularly, but I don't get the appeal. I don't like things that flap in your face, you know. I'm not a big fan of moths and certain kinds of insects that really just want to be entirely in your business at all times. I find that it's just an intimidating sensation. Now, because it's in my head, all I'm going to be able to think about for the rest of this run is a complete history of the Soviet Union as sung to the Tetris song, which, if you're interested in looking that up, it's a particularly well-produced music video and quite fun song, may or may not be factually accurate, suspect it is, by a guy who goes on YouTube by, I believe it's Pig with the Face of a Boy, which is one hell of a channel title. I don't know if he's still producing output these days. It would be a shame if he wasn't, but ain't that the way with content creation? You know, coming from a guy that hasn't reasonably made any content for I don't know how many years, and by now has probably lost any kind of subscriber base that he ever had. Yeah. I think I used to mind that kind of thing more back in the day, but I'd like to think I've got over myself a little bit more. He said talking into a microphone and imagining that anyone was listening to it, which certainly is in absolutely no way narcissistic. It isn't though, is it really? I'm overthinking that one. It might be a little bit. I mean, I feel like there's a way to solve this. I feel like I'm just not looking at it properly, which I feel like is often the problem. Do I have anything cool? I mean, I could fire that off, why not? Yeah, you can do some work for me. And it's expensive, but why? It's go. Does it reveal? Yeah, it does reveal. It's better than I thought it was. Okay. Well, I've suddenly gained a lot more respect for blessings. I can't say that I particularly care about the sanctified effect, but the blessing is good. Oh, the reveal, I mean, not the blessing. Okay, well in fact that's frozen, so I know that's a 1. Even though the frostbite is 100% beneficial, apart from destroying my ability to card, I find it quite difficult to read actually. Okay, one of these, so that, and then yeah, I've got everything I can there. You know, I normally like a larch. It's not quite the useful mod, but doesn't seem to be doing me any favours here. I can't do any damage. I refuse to use my bomb. This stage can potentially do quite a lot of damage. That was a guess, but a fortunate one. Yep. So 6 to go. What do we like? We don't like that. How's my armour? Yeah, well, it took 2, that's fine. I'm not going to worry about that unduly. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we're good there. Really do with another shot. Oh, we've only got the 1 left. What's in the box? Yeah, Evermetal's fine. You buy that. You buy that because it's, you know, they've got cash. And they can just replace the chromatic if that falls apart. Which, yeah, could happen. And then, God, a thought occurred. I mean, I don't believe the gentleman is still alive these days, but gosh, I'd watch Bob Ross play this. You know, the Joy of Painting guy? That is a show that I like to watch drunk. Because, oh God, he's a magician though, isn't he? Every episode of that I've seen, it's the way that he just seems to be slapping the canvas and achieving so very little. And then you look away for just a second and there's just a magnificent landscape has formed, like he's just conjured it from the ether. Because the man is a magician. You know. It's annoying in a way, because I sincerely believe that people like that just dilute the overall global talent pool. You know, to just sort of raise the bar for everyone else. It'd probably hurt to hear people say that, because he did seem to be a lovely person and just wanted people to enjoy a hobby. But, that was such a high bar to set. Okay. One of these is, that must be, yeah. Yeah, that was a guess, but that's fine. Oh, actually, it's the second time I mentioned Bob Ross, isn't it? Because he's got a reference in the Happy Little Tree item. That's nice. I forget if that story about him was true, that he used to be in the army. I think, wasn't it that he was, but he decided to drop out of it because he just didn't want to be that guy on a daily basis? I mean, you got to do what's right for you, haven't you? I'm getting a little luckier than I deserve to. Deserve to be here. And oops. Whilst it's difficult to complain about that, I mean, anytime I start drawing an awful lot of really lucky guesses, you're just constantly wondering when the wheels are going to fall off. I know that the game, you know, it's not like Monster Hunter, it doesn't have that desire sensor built in. I don't care what anyone says, I believe in the desire sensor as much as a lot of people do. But, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, that's not how that works. It is almost tempting to believe that the game knows when you've pushed your luck a little too far and is just building you up and building you up to just bring it all crashing down around your ears just when you've built up too much hope, you know? But no, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I was confused the graphic for bleeding with the graphic for melting. Ooh, that's looking. Which, is silly really, because they don't look anything like each other from what I remember. I just see that dripping looking icon and oh great, you know, I'm about to lose all my stuff. Which was particularly upsetting when I had my last one. I really did have quite some effective loot there. It's really to see all my stuff was going to remain intact. I don't remember what the boss stage even looks like. I think it's the dream board. I remember that, but not very much further. Look at that. Yep. Yep. And there was another thing. Did it matter though? Did it truly matter if you can't remember what it was? No, drawing a complete blank. There was something about the... Oh yeah. I did hit an interesting scenario the other day where I found one of those little meteorite things that they apply like mods or, you know, other sort of like randomizers to other stages in return for giving you a lot of a particular item. And this one was, I think, was gain a few copies of a particular item in return for applying some kind of negative mod to every other stage. Only what it decided to do was give me 4 comforters. So in return for applying a negative mod to every other stage, it gave me, I think it was 4 copies of an item that removes 1 mod from every stage. Which was kind of interesting. Funny, anyway. I like the randomness in this. It generates some interesting scenarios. I mean, sometimes it completely shafts you. And sometimes it's in ways that don't feel fair and, you know, and aren't particularly satisfying. But, you know, when it's funny, and I'm okay with that, actually. I mean, I certainly keep coming back to play it. And again, I've had a long-standing love of Minesweeper since I was about 16, actually. Which is possibly a strange thing to get into when you're that age, and possibly a decent indication of you might be becoming a computer programmer when he gets older. I mean, I'm not saying it's a particularly transferable skill to be able to play Minesweeper and to be able to you know, write code. Arguably, I don't know if I'm particularly good at writing code. I suppose that would depend on who you ask. Yeah, it certainly would, actually. No, sir. This is not what I ordered. I would like it to be sent back, if you please. Right. Rather a shame that I... Nomadic... Trusty. Oh yeah, because I applied Trusty. Trusty is lovely. Right, so what you do? Slap it. Hello. Time Lord Kronos. How about we don't do that? I like to think of Time Lord Kronos now as the boss who means you can't miss. Because, you can't pause the game. Which sort of sucks. You can't pause it properly anyway. Bank. Cardiac arrest? Yes, I do. Oh, yeah. Alright, well, yeah, enjoy that. Yeah, but if you draw Time Lord Kronos, that... Oh yeah, I've got friendly fire. Let it all go. Let it all go. Hello. I'll take that. Because, hello. Just gotta be careful, because that could kill me. What was I saying? I don't know. Maybe I should open chests when I can. Yeah, if I take the gold amulet, then I may generate more loot, and I may just end up getting... oh, what do you call it? Yeah, more coins. And more XP bonus for finishing levels. I mean, I'm sort of getting to the point now where XP isn't particularly matter. And thank you to I forget the guy's name, but a kind of wiki contributor who was filled out the list for what prestige is, or what benefits prestige actually give you for leveling up. And yeah, there's spoiler alert. But the prestige bonuses are they're entirely like gain tokens, gain world clay, gain emblems, or gain... I forget what the other one is. It wasn't spectacular actually, it was sort of useful. A chance of getting XP bonuses? I don't remember what. Well, there's your daily run anyway. And pretty silly it is too. Fun though. I wonder if that submits to this one.